So what are the numbers? I'm Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group, and welcome to the November 2020 Residential Resale Real Estate Market Update. And what are the numbers? As I record this, it is Friday, November 6th, along about 4 p.m. And we still do not have final vote numbers from the election on Tuesday. Well, for those of you who don't live in Nevada, calm down, it's okay. This is pretty typical here. The vote goes slowly, the count goes slowly. Now remember, in Nevada, the people who count the quickest tend to always be at the blackjack tables. So it's not the quickest counters that we have working, but we have people working on this who know what they're doing and they're going to do a good job with it. So we'll wait on those numbers until they're finalized. But what about the housing market numbers? So October 2020 was another incredibly strong month for the residential real estate market. For single family homes in the market that sold, there were 3,225. Now that's actually a small decrease from the number that sold in the month of September, which had been 3,270. And you'll remember I had said that I suspected things would slow down a little bit, even though we had really high pending home sales, just because inventory was really, I don't want to say collapsing, that's not exactly the right word, but really constrained. And so it's hard to find things out there that people are actually looking for. Now, the home sales number is actually up 11.2% from October of 2019, when we had 2,899 home sales that month. So this number, nonetheless, for the month of October 2020 was very strong. Now, I want to make a comment here, because those of you who've been watching the series over the course of the last however many months recognize that the number of home sales that I've just mentioned for the month of September 2020 is actually about 100 higher than what I had mentioned in the video last month. And I had previously talked about two different things that influenced these numbers. One was how early in the month I make the video, because the data may not be fully stabilized, because some things don't get reported until a week or so after a transaction is closed. Some houses have come into the market, but they've not been marked properly into the MLS. And so there's some adjusting on the numbers. But there was a second issue as well. And that second issue was that I've been very careful to segregate out those homes that were not actually resale. And you listen to some of the other people giving their data analyses, and they talk numbers that are not identical to the numbers that I'm giving. It's because what they're looking at is a set of numbers being reported by the local realtor association. And that number that gets reported includes resales, and it includes developer sales for properties that have been listed in the MLS. So some builders will build a neighborhood, and they'll build it almost entirely per contract, but some number of the individual lots they will decide to build as inventory, so that if somebody comes along and wants a new construction home but doesn't have 6 to 9 months to wait for construction, they can buy one of the inventory homes. Not always, but oftentimes those get listed into the MLS. And so those numbers get conflated with the previously owned or resale houses. Now, unfortunately, this month, my regular data set is not available. And so I'm having to report to you from the regular multiple listing service data set. And so these numbers do conflate both resales as well as those small numbers, but indeterminate numbers of MLS listed developer not previously sold units. And so that's why those numbers are going to vary just slightly. You'll see it even more on price. So the median sales price in October 2020 was $340,200. That's up 0.9% from last month's $337,250. What I had previously reported, because it's of the specifically isolated segment of actual resales, was $334,500. So we're about $3,000 higher in this combined set. So we've gone up nonetheless from what was in the combined set to $340,200, or up 0.9%. This is up 10.8% from October of 2019, when we had $307,000 was the median sales price. Now these trends all track. It just is going to change some of the specific numbers. So just to highlight that for you. So very strong month for October. 3,225 home sales at a median sales price of $340,200. How about for sale? What's inventory look like? Right? We know interest rates are still incredibly low, historically low. We know that interest rates, you can get 30-year mortgages right now for between 2.25 and 2.75%. You may be a tiny bit higher than that, depending on particular circumstances associated with a bank or the particular type of property. But that's the range. Pretty much everybody who's getting mortgages right now is qualifying for sub 3% mortgage rates. So historically low interest rates. Continuing. Inventory. For sale homes at the end of October 2020, 4,501. This is down 6.2% from last month. This is down 37.6% from the 7,210 homes that were available for sale at the end of October 2019. Very, very tight inventory. What about in terms of months? What does that look like? 1.4 months of effective inventory in the market. That's it. We'd been talking 2 months was almost historically low. We're well below that 2 months. We're at 1.4 months. We're talking numbers here that have not been seen in the Valley for 20 plus years. My data set doesn't go back that far. So this may actually be historically low. Really tight inventory. This is down 4.5% from last month. This is down 43.9% from 1 year ago, from the end of October 2019, when there were 2.5 months of inventory available. So astoundingly tight inventory with record low interest rates. That suggests continued pricing pressure in this market. Now, what happens with the data set, if you will? Inventory sits there and it leaves the data set if it's been sold or if it's been withdrawn from the market. There is, of course, new inventory that comes into the data set. So that pile of inventory, if you will, the number of houses that are available for sale, is not just contracting because things get sold, but it's also expanding because of new inventory entering into the market. So in October 2020, we did see 3,592 homes enter into the for sale inventory. That's actually up about 1.4% from the number that had entered into inventory last month. It's down 6.7% from the number that entered into inventory in October of 2020. Now, do keep in mind, we're into the beginning of November now. We generally see a slowdown seasonally in the market, both reduced numbers of homes coming into the data set and reduced numbers of homes leaving the data set because of sales. So that new inventory, that new listings is going down a little bit is not surprising, but it is really interesting when we start to look at, we sold 3,225, we brought in 3,592 on an existing inventory of 4,501. So we're just barely replacing the total inventory by homes coming in that are for sale reduced by the number of homes that are going out that have sold. So if we think about this, it means that right now that inventory pile, again, if you will, is not really growing. We're staying at these incredibly tight inventory numbers. Now, I do want to back up, and I want to talk about a couple of other issues real quickly, sort of about the state of the economy in Las Vegas. Obviously, we're still suffering from the pandemic here. Obviously, that's having still significant impacts on employment levels, and so unemployment is significantly elevated. Interestingly, the overall personal income numbers look like they've stabilized, and we're actually not doing badly in terms of aggregate personal income in the valley. Obviously, it's been redistributed away from those who have become unemployed and toward those who are able to benefit in some manner from what's going on economically. But we've got a lot of other things taking place as well. We've just had the grand opening of Circa, the first new resort casino in the downtown area. In fact, the first new from the ground up commercial building downtown in decades. We've got Resort World on the Strip, still going through development, should open in just about 6 months. We've got the convention center has effectively opened. There's no one to go in and actually put on conventions at the moment, but officially that's supposed to open in just over 1 month. The work is touch-up work on the inside of the convention center now. We have transportation options that are being put in actually around the convention center. It's hard to call them mass transit. They're based on moving Tesla vehicles underground, or Tesla-like vehicles underground. But these people mover systems are actually being built. The Raider Stadium obviously is opened a few months ago. The very first attended game in there was played last week by the UNLV Rebels. And so we've got a lot of investment that's still occurring into the valley. Anyone who's been looking at the 215 freeway in the southwest knows that the expansion from 3 to 4 lanes in each direction has been almost completed. The continuation of the 215 around the northeast side of the valley has been completed, except for the interchange in the north with the 15 freeway. Lots of water infrastructure investments taking place. There's a lot of public and private investment taking place. Some was related to the resort corridor, some not. The groundbreaking just took place on the $150 million UNLV Medical School campus in their first building. That groundbreaking just took place last week. So these are investments that are being made by the government, by private foundations, by the public, by tourism taxes, and by others who are really investing in Las Vegas. The economy here will rebound. Obviously, we've got to get through the pandemic to see the full benefit of that, but it will rebound. And we will be off to the races, as they say, for additional growth because of the investments that are being made to be able to facilitate that growth in the convention business and moving people around the city in the medical education and medical services delivery market here in Las Vegas. So don't count Las Vegas out by any chance. It is a strong environment. We're going to do really well, and your investments in real estate will pay off handsomely. And as I noted to you, prices are up 10.8% year over year for October 2020. About in line with where I had said that we were going to be for 2020 when I was making the initial forecasts back in December of last year. I had suggested we're going to see 10 to 12% price appreciation this year. Next year, very likely we're actually going to see a continuation of this price appreciation. I don't want to make my forecast for 2021 yet, but I think it's going to be a very strong year as well. in terms of number of sales. I think inventory is going to rebound and support those sales, but in terms of pricing and price appreciation as well. So I am Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group. Remember, we help people buy and sell homes. If you're looking for somebody to help you find a home, it's really important in this environment that you have support, because inventory is so tight that A, finding a property that's actually available can be difficult, and B, having the professional support to get you through the process into contract and through the entire process where there may be multiple offers competing against you becomes critically important. If you're thinking about selling, please talk with us. We would be happy to talk with you. This market needs more listings. And if you list your property in this market, you're going to find yourselves very happy with what we can actually do for you. At the same time, you're going to have to still be cognizant of the fact that that there are pricing constraints in this market associated with appraisals that are not always coming in right, as well as some hesitancy on the buyer side for escalating prices. So you don't want to get ahead of yourself as a seller. Get your professional assistance. Please reach out to us, talk to us. We'd be happy to help you. If you know somebody else who needs help with real estate, is thinking about either buying or selling, please reach out to us with their information. We'd be happy to contact them and talk to them and see how we can help them. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe, click the like button, click the notification bell, and tell other people about the value that you find in these videos. We look forward to talking with you. Thank you very much.